Hello and welcome back to Beauty Bee. For most of this video, I'm going to be, in the wise words of Teresa's Dead, very much hands, but I wanted to pop in to introduce what we're going to be doing today. So recently I have realized that a way to get a lot of good use out of my more duochromatic eyeshadows while adding a ton of versatility to my eyeliners is by using them to top off my black liquid liner. It creates a really cool iridescent effect. I think that I've in the past referred to it as sort of that iridescent beetle look, and I've been really enjoying it. So today I thought that we would go through the duochrome or really sparkly shadows that I personally have, see how they play with my black eyeliner, and hopefully find some inspiration for looks or combinations that I could do in the future. So with that, I'm going to turn into hands a metamorphosis that I think that even Kafka would be proud of. Welcome to the surface of my desk. Today, I am going to be using my black liquid liner throughout. This is the breakup proof waterproof liquid eyeliner from Wet n Wild. I have been pretty impressed with this overall. I should give it a shake before I try to apply it. And I'm going to be using some pretty thin lines. I found in my other experiments that this is enough to show off the effect, and I don't really want to waste this because it is very nice. And liquid liner, even the Wet n Wild one, is not all that cheap. So I've got 8. We can always add on to this later if we need to, when we need to. And let's look for some duochromes. Okay, so I have my little mountain of duochromes or other very sparkly shades. I'm also going to be making use throughout this video of this Wet n Wild angled liner brush and a color switch. So let's start with one that is not a duochrome. This is Ladybird from Colourpop. It is an ivory shade with a lot of silver glitter to it, and I just gouged into that goodness. Let's see how that works. I've actually not tried this one before. Not all that impressive. I could probably make it a little bit better with some glitter glue, and actually we are going to give that a try. I think I'm just going to glitter glue over all of the remaining lines that I have. Now let's give that a go. Honestly, it does look a little bit better, but it didn't improve it as much as I wish that it had. So let's move on to the next color, and I think that is going to be this blue-brown shade from Wet n Wild. Let me give you a swatch of that. I repressed all of these shades recently, so they're all kind of a mess. And that is beautiful. I love the sheen that that has. Our next victim is Glass Bowl from Colourpop, which is a beige brown base with a blue shift. Put it right here. Ooh, that's pretty. It almost turns into a silver with a little bit of a blue shift to it. I'm a big fan of that. I'm going to have to play with that in the future. We have Earthshine from Colourpop. This is a pink base with a strong violet shift, if I can get it to show up for you. In any case, I'm really hoping that the purple will show through in my swatch. Oh, you can definitely see the purple there. I like that. That is a little bit more subtle than the blue, but it still has quite a bit of depth to it while still being interesting. That's a really interesting color. I am going to have to play with that. Definitely has an interesting shine to it. How many different times can I call this shade interesting and get away with it? Next up, this is just a blue eyeshadow. This is from my Wet n Wild 32 pan palette. And it is not a duochrome. It's just very shiny, and I thought it might be interesting. So, here goes nothing. I mean, it is interesting. I will give it that. But does it really look that different from just a swatch of it would? Yeah, it does. Cool. I will definitely keep that in mind. I don't have a whole lot of use for a bright turquoise liner, but hey, if it ever comes up, at least I won't feel the need to buy one. Next up, we're going to move to my NYX Ultimate Utopia palette. I am really very fond of this palette. If you've been around this channel before, you probably know that. If you haven't, congrats. If you stick around, you're probably going to hear about this palette every other video or so. Now, there are two shades that I would describe as true standard duochromes in here. There's this orange, which has quite a bit of a gold flip to it. There is also this brown, which has a green flip to it. Additionally, there are 4 very shimmery shades that I do want to try out. We have this gold green, this blue, a mint green, and a brown with quite a bit of gold to it. So I think I'm going to start with the 2 standard duochromes, the orange and the brown. I mean, it does kind of give you a dirty gold liner, but I'm not wild about it. I feel like the brown might be a little bit more fun. Okay, from my new angle, I just moved over a little bit as I was putting on that swatch. That gold looks so much more interesting. And this is a pretty color. It's not the most unique color, but it is a very pretty color, and it's one that I could see myself actually using on days where I was doing even more subtle makeup. I feel like that could be a really fun little added pop. Very good. Time for another round of, time to add another round of stripes. time for the glitters. We're going to start with this green gold. That's pretty. That's another one where I don't really have much of a reason to wear a green gold super often, but if I did, snap. And of course, this also, you didn't have to just use this as liner. You could totally put the black all over your lid and then just top it with one of these shades. That is something I might need to keep in mind. Beautiful. I'm going to go to the gold next. I actually tried this one on my eye yesterday, I think, 2 days ago, with not great results. I didn't think to use glitter glue because, I don't know, I was not being very smart that morning, and I just ended up with glitter everywhere. But that's another pretty one. I am struck by what could have been with that look. Oh well. Unfortunate, but time to move on from it. And I think I'm going to now try out the blue, and then we'll save the mint green for last for this palette. I mean, it's pretty, but we've already got a couple that are giving fairly similar results. I'm intrigued now to see what the green will do. Ooh. Oh, I like that. Isn't that a pretty color? Oh my goodness. Note to self, use this regularly. So that brings me to the end of my super glittery powder shadows, but I thought that I would also show just a couple more really shimmery or interesting shades that I have in my collection. I think first we're going to go with this really dark gray, sort of a dark blue gray. It has a lot of glitter to it, and let's just see what happens. Ooh, you can definitely see the blue coming out in that. I kind of assumed that it was going to end up looking very similar to maybe this one, but that's pretty. It's almost like a midnight sky kind of color. Beautiful. I also have this very pretty palette from e.l.f. This is their 70s Feels eyeshadow palette. It has 6 shades, all of which are very shimmery. I think for this video, I'm going to go, let's see, I have 3 spots left. Let's try this sort of yellow shade. I like how smooth that ends up. I'm sorry, I don't want to kick things around on the table too much. That turns out such a pretty golden olive shade. You can see a little bit of a flip in it as I move my hand. Okay, that's another one that I'm going to need to play with. How about this deep red brown? I mean, it is different than anything else. It is makes for a deep copper, but it's not all that exciting. Pretty, but unexciting. Comparatively, at least. I mean, some of these shades are just stunning. then finally, I think I'm going to go for this purple. It's a really light gray lavender. Ooh. That's pretty. That's another one that I think I'm going to have to reach for. Beautiful. All right, so I am very happy with the results of today's video. I definitely have some new color combinations to try out and play with over these next several weeks. And I am looking forward to my glitter liner experience. That is not something that I've ever had before. I would love to know what you think of any of these combinations. Also, if you have any suggestions for colors that I should try to layer over black or other shades for that matter. I have a navy liner, I have a green shadow stick. I would love to hear them. I am always interested in learning new ways that I can mess with my little collection and get a wide amount of variety out of it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you'll consider liking and subscribing if you did. I hope you will tune in for the next one. Bye!